Hi guys, so we just looked at how to use our base 4 manipulatives to convert from base 4 to base 10. So now let's look at how we can use unit strips and mats and place value cards to do so. So in previous, I think it was 2 units ago, you guys needed to use your own unit strips and mats, and a lot of you just cut out squares and rectangles for your tens, your hundreds, tens, and ones. You can do the same exact thing, only this time a square will represent 16, your mat will represent 16, and your long rectangle will represent 4, and your small square will still represent 1. So you can use the same exact mats, strips, and units that you used previously. If you still have them, that's fine. Or you can cut out the same thing. It's just now they're going to be representing base 4 instead of base 10. So let's look at how we can do this. So I'm going to use the same 2 examples, only this time I'm going to be just writing it and drawing it as basically squares and rectangles, like our manipulatives might be if we cut them out. So we're converting 132 to base 4, and as we learned in the earlier, we have powers of 4 since we're dealing with base 4. So in our units, we have 4 to the 0, which just has a value of 1. Moving over, we have the 4 to the 1 power in this place value, which just has a value of 4. And then, of course, we have our 4 to the second, our 4 squared place value, which has a value of 16. So it's always really handy to make these tables and write the values of each power of whatever base you're in. So I want to convert to base 10, 132 base 4. So 132 in base 4, I want to see what that would be in base 10, okay? So let's do just exactly what we did before. So we look at our 132, let's start in the units place. We see that we need 2 of those, so I'm just going to draw 2 little squares, okay? And then if we look at our moving over, we look at our 4 to the 1 place value, which is technically a 4, right? We have 3 of those, so I'm going to draw 3 of these long rectangles, and you would just place 3 of your strips. And then moving over again, I see that I just need 1 in the next place value, so I'm just going to draw 1 big square, 1 mat, okay? And then I can go through and do the same thing. So I have, if I look in each place value, I see, well, I have 1 of these, so that means I have 1 times a value of 16, right? Which gives me 16. And then if I move over, I see that I have 1, 2, 3 of these, so that's 3 times the value of 4, which is 12. And then if I move over again, I see I have 1, 2 of these, so that's 2 times the value of 1, which is just 2. And then if I add up 16 plus 12 plus 2, what do I get? I get a value of 30. Okay, so 132 base 4 is 30 in base 10. Okay, so now let's look at another example of how we could use our place value cards to do the same thing. Okay, so here I'm going to convert to base 10. 312 base 4. So what's 312 in base 4? We already did this, but again, we're going to do it using place value cards this time. And with place value cards, you can use any small manipulative. I'm going to draw it out, but you could also, last time I used these small little circles. You guys remember those? So this is how I could do the exact same thing just by drawing it out on paper. So it's the same exact thing. I have my table set up. I've got each of my place values set up with their associated values. So my powers of 4 and their associated values going up by place value. And so now instead of drawing out my unit strips and mats, since I'm doing place value cards, I'm just going to make my circles. So before I just used those circle manipulatives, now I'm just going to draw them. So if I look at the number 312, I see that I have a 2 in the units place, so I'm just going to draw 2 circles, okay? And moving over, I see I have a 1 in my next place value, so I'm just going to draw 1 circle here. And then moving over again, I see I have a 3 in the next place value, so 1, 2, 3 circles would go here, okay? And then I'm just going to do exactly the same thing. I see I have 1, 2, 3 in this place value, so that's 3 times a value of 16. That equals 48. Okay. And my 4 to the 1 place value, I just have 1, so that's 1 times a value of 4, which equals 4. And in my 4 to the 0 place value, my units, I have 1, 2, so that's 2 times the value of 1, which just equals 2. Then if I add those all together, right, I have 48 plus 4 plus 2. That gives me my value of 54. That's a terrible equal sign. Make that a little bit nicer. Okay, so 312 in base 4 has a value of 54 in base 10, right? Which we knew, but now we can see how to do this same exact problem, but using place value cards, okay? So you could, of course, do this out with your manipulatives, and if I asked you to do it out with manipulatives, I would expect you to use something small, like these circles. I saw people using dominoes, beans, little tiny figurines, all great manipulatives. Or I might just say, use place value cards, and you could pick whether you want to show me with manipulatives or simply by drawing it out like this, okay? So make sure you pay attention to whatever the directions ask you to do. But doing this it's pretty nice, right? There's a few different ways we can do it. And the more you guys do this, the easier it will become. We're going to do a lot of examples of how to convert bases, and it's the same process every time. So the more of these that you do, I promise you the easier it will become. So hopefully by the end of this unit, you'll feel really good about base conversion. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Bye.